What just happened? Okay, so here I am to review 88 Names, which I started reading back in May and then put aside and finally picked up again as I'm trying to finish books that I started earlier this year. This book is by Matt Ruff, who's probably best known for Lovecraft Country. I have not read that. This is the first book by Matt Ruff that I've read. I tried to read Set This House in Order, but I couldn't get into it. That book is, I think, deliberately confusing and probably not a good place to start. So anyway, this one, let's give you the umbrella of the story without any spoilers. It's about a guy named John. It's set in the near future, and John is a Sherpa, which he guides people through video games. He has a small team of people who work for him, and they collectively guide paying customers through difficult video game simulations and things. There's, in particular, this one video game called Call to Wizardry. It sounds like it might be kind of a World of Warcraft thing. And so it has a lot of different missions or tasks or something, and people who are willing to pay for someone to get them more treasure, get them better armor, set up their characters for them, and then create a team to fight their way through whatever scenario is going on. That's what John does for a living. The story kicks off when John is hired by a mysterious Mr. Jones to kind of give him an education in, video games. And so a big section of the book is about John trying to figure out who Mr. Jones really is, and just kind of them going through various kinds of video games and and then the end of the book, it's so the big reveal and the big battle, so to speak. To position myself in relation to this, I don't play video games. Everyone else in my life does, so I have watched people play video games plenty. All I play are like the games on my phone, like Bejeweled or Mahjong. So like these big video games are not my thing, but I know enough about them that I was able to, follow along. Of course, this book spends a lot of time also just explaining things. That was part of what slowed it down, really. It was just there for a while. It felt like they were going just from video game to video game and having things explained and having different tech explained, and and how the VR works and how cybersex works and all these things. That was for me not super interesting, because I kind of don't care. I didn't need all the deep technical stuff. Just tell me what's going on. Just give me a sense of instead of the blow by blow and I had to, turn off this thing and toggle that thing and make this thing in order for this to happen. I just, that wasn't for me. If you liked Ready Player One, maybe even if you didn't like Ready Player One, this is kind of in that vein, but with the less fanboyish aspect and the more like, spy, sneaky stuff going on. John's mom works for the government in a kind of spy capacity, and he ends up having to, get her help at various points in the story. So I gave it 3 stars. It was almost a 4-star read for me, but the slow build and that seeming slog through just, we're going to go into this video game and that video game. And I get it. John in the story, as he takes Mr. Jones into these different video games, is trying to get clues as to who Jones is and, see what he can get Jones to reveal about himself. but it still felt like a lot. And then you get to the end finally, and that felt actually a little bit rushed. The big reveal just felt kind of, abrupt. So I don't know, maybe like, and then all of the side characters, they're all really interesting and they're all pretty good. And then yet in some ways they aren't as fleshed out as I would maybe like them to be. It's kind of weird. They're probably better fleshed out than a lot of side characters ever get. But yeah, I don't know. There was a little something lacking there. There were just places where the whole thing felt slightly disjointed, especially with this one side character, Anya, who is in Argentina, and she's actually bedridden after a physical accident, so her escape is through these video games, and she's one of John's team, and then, she asks John to go with her on this other thing because there's a guy she likes, but she wants John to help vet the guy she likes, and that felt kind of random. And then, yeah, I don't know, like, so some things, it was almost like there was maybe more story there. It's almost like watching a movie and being like, I feel like they cut something there, and there was maybe meant to be more of a story over here that didn't happen in the final, like, editing run or something. It's weird because it's not actually that long a book, but it did take me a really long time to read for the reasons I've stated. It's pretty good. Again, if it's your kind of thing, I think people who are really into video games would probably like it a lot more. Again, like, if you like Ready Player One, but not for the fanboy aspect, more for the video gaming aspect, this might be your speed. I think the writing is really good. John is slightly obnoxious as a character, but I think he's meant to be, and it is from his point of view. It's all first person. Like, there's just some things where you're just like, dude, you're so dumb. What are you doing? But he admits it, too, and he's like, I realize this is probably a stupid thing to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't know if that makes him any more tolerable. Like, is a stupid person admitting they're stupid any better than a stupid person who doesn't know any better? I don't know. I guess that's a matter of taste. But I found his voice was not terrible to read, even if as a character he's a little bit like, he's motivated by the money and and this idea that he might get famous if things go the right way, and he might start getting better job offers and things like that. But yeah, so I get it, he's ambitious, right? And that's he's obnoxious in the way some ambitious people can be, but it's understandable and relatable, and the voice is actually really well written, and so for that, props to him. Props to Ruff for writing it well, I guess. I might try Lovecraft Country at some point. I haven't even watched it yet. It's on my to-watch list. I don't know whether I want to watch it and then read, or read and then watch. But first I've got to finish all those other books that are still stacked and waiting. Now that I have finished this, finally, I'm going to pick up A Conjuring of Light again and get that done. So that's next on my list. And yeah, that is it for this review. It seems like I've given 3 stars to all my most recent reads. I'm just kind of feeling meh about everything. I wish there were ways to be a little bit more nuanced. Like I said, this one was almost 4. So, but I just couldn't bring myself to round it up to that 4 for those few reasons. So It is what it is. And I'll see you if I ever finish A Conjuring of Light. If I don't, you might never see me again.